Hello, my name is Frederik Steinmetz for ATutsPlus.com, and today we'll be creating a photo wall that has a single slider in order to control the disbursement of this photo wall. And this is used by dropping the photos into a composition and then using a script that we'll be creating in order to link them to the slider control. So let's get started. So here we are in After Effects, and I've created this photo wall. Each of these pictures is an individual photo. Let me turn those off. And I have one null object with a slider control that controls the disbursement of these layers. And all you need to do in order to create this is load 100 pictures, or whatever number of pictures you want to be on your wall, into a composition and run the script that we're about to create. So to prepare those 100 pictures, let's head over to Photoshop and create a macro. I have these pictures here. Let's take this one. It looks surprisingly like me. And let's just resize it to go to, oh no, sorry, let's record the macro. So press this little play button here and create a new action and call it resize. I'm using 13 by 9 because that's usually that's the aspect ratio of a normal size picture. And I'll start recording. So what I do now is image and size, and be sure you're not on % here, because otherwise the macro will record it to be to scale it proportionally. But switch over to pixels, and you can see this is already 1300 by 900, but that's going to be a bit large for what I'm doing. And in order to save processor time, I'll do this 650 by 450. And I'll press OK and say File, Save. Now our recording of the macro is complete, and we can move over to apply this resize effect to the rest of the pictures. For this, I'll go to File, Automate, Batch. And as my action, if it's not already selected, I'll choose the resize 13 by 9. And as a source, I want a folder. I'll choose the folder. That would be there, ATuts and Pictures. And you can override the action open command. It's not necessary for this, but I guess we can leave all this at the default. Let's just put the destination to save and close. If you're not sure if your script is working correctly, you might want to make a safety copy, a backup of your pictures, because this macro will overwrite the original files. So I'll press OK, and you can see Photoshop in action. It opens all the pictures and resizes them according to the script. And there we go. With this done, let's head over to After Effects and create actually, let's create an entirely new project for this. I don't need to save this. I'll get my pictures. This picture is 650 by 450, so is this. So okay, we're good to go. Let's head over to After Effects and import those pictures. So just press Ctrl A to mark them all and then drag them over here. Okay, now we'll create a new composition and make it the size that you prefer. I'll choose HDTV, and it's probably a good idea to move the pictures into a separate folder. And I create a new folder, press Ctrl A again, and deselect the comp and move all the pictures into the picture folder. Let's call this comp the wall, and drop all the pictures into this comp. And you can choose the order of the pictures if you select them here by holding down Control or Command. You can change the order of the pictures. And the pictures will be executed by the script from, this will be at the, I think at the bottom right, but we'll have to double check that. So of course the last one will be at the top left, but I'm not sure. Okay, that's the preparation for our script. That's all we need to do in After Effects, so let's head over to the script editor. So go to File, Scripts, Run Script Editor. Okay, here we are in the script editor, the extension Extend Script Toolkit that comes with the Adobe package. And as you recall from last time, we'll target After Effects and whatever version you're using. 8.0 will work for all CS versions as far as I know. And this time we won't be creating a new composition, we'll use the existing composition, because if we were to create a new composition, then we'd either have to import the pictures from a folder, which is a lot of hassle, and also the alternative method would be to make sure that all the 100 pictures are selected in the project. So it's a lot easier to just work with all the pictures in the active comp. That means the comp that is highlighted in After Effects. And first of all, we need to tell our script which is the comp that all of this will be applied to. And we'll create a new variable for that, call it active comp, and it will be the application dot project, which is the current project, of course, dot active item. And this active item is, let me show you real quick, this would be the active item. It's the it disregards what's active in the composition, because you can see here it's not project composition, it's application project, and this is exactly what this up here is. So make sure that when you run the script, your composition is selected up here. So that's our active composition, and we'll later on create an expression that will link the solids to the slider of the nulls. So I'll just call it for expression, and this will be a new string. Now I'm not completely sure whether it's necessary to tell the toolkit that this is a new string, because I once made an error and forgot to tell that it's a string, and it treated it like a string anyways. And also the string doesn't seem to be a reserved word. But this is how it works in the other, in the AS3, for example. And since it never produced any error message, I'll just keep calling the variables that I create new string, new array, whatever. It works fine. So just to be on the safe side, I'll do that. And we need a factor, which is the amount that the offset of the slider will be multiplied with. And that will make sense later on. If it doesn't now, don't worry. And this would be actually, yeah, that would be a number. And then we have the pictures that we are addressing. I'll just call this pic, and that would be a new array. And also we have a tile width. That would be, of course, the width of the tiles in our wall, and of course the tile height, new number, and that's it for the variables now. And let's create an interface, a user interface for our script, so we are able to modify the script before we run it inside of After Effects. We don't have to go to the source file for that. For this, I'll create a variable I'll call win for window, and it will be a new window. And it has to have a few parameters. First of all, it will be a dialog box. So we need the dialogs in these single quotation marks. I hope that's what you call them. And also it will have a name, which is the number of pictures, and it will have some coordinates, and this is the 500, 200. This is the starting point. That means from the top left of your screen it will go 500 pixels to the right, 200 pixels down, and this is the ending point, 100, 1000, and also 300. So in order to understand this, you need to know this is the top left point, X and Y, this is the bottom right point, X and Y. So you're not telling it where it is and then a height and a width, but you tell where the upper left corner is, where the lower right corner is, and it will draw a rectangle from over there. And this window will have a couple of parameters, of course. First of all, I'll add a new text input field. I'll call that text1, and I'll add a text field to this as static text. So that's actually a that's actually a display, not the input text. And we have to tell After Effects that this is a static text, and it has the parameters that I found to be useful are 10, 40, 52, and 60. And again, this is starting from the top left to the bottom right. But this time we're not starting at the top left of the screen, but at the top left of our newly created box. That's why it says win.add. And also we need a win input. So I'll call this win.number in X. So it's the number of the tiles in X. I'll call win and add a new, this time not static text, but edit text. And again, for some reason, again, the static text and the edit text were slightly offset when I used the same Y values. So what I did was I used the values 60, 38, so it's 2 pixels up, and then 90 and 58. Okay, that's our numbers in Y, and then I'll call this win dot text2, and it equals win dot add, and again static text, and this time the coordinates will be 100, 40, 142, and 60, and win dot num y equals win dot add, and again an edit text, and it will be, this time the coordinates will be 200, sorry, 150, 38, 180, and 58. And finally we'll add a button to start the script, and win dot, I'll call this WBTN for button, and will be win dot add and then button. And the buttons coordinates are 200 for the lower left, upper left, and 38, 250, and 58. And it will, it will read disperse. Okay, that's our field. Now, the static text here will display what the edit text box means. So I'll just type in here tiles in X, and over here the edit text doesn't necessarily need a pre-composed text, but it's nice if you know that there's going to be approximately 10 by 10 pictures. You can already insert the number 10 into the static field text box, so that if you actually do want 10 pictures, you only have to confirm that. And if you want to change the number of pictures, you just click on the text box and change that. So over here we have again the static text, and it will read tiles in Y. And here again I inserted the number 10 to be default. Now to know how the window works is the dialog box is, as soon as you type in show the dialog box, the script will pause until something happens. And this is why we're not going to show it right now, but first we'll write a function that will be the actual script. So I'll call this function, and it does not need any parameters. And we'll call, disperse, and then those two brackets and opening curly brackets in order to show that the next following block all belongs to this function. And we'll first create our null object. I'll call this again controller null, and it will be the active comp. Remember, that's the comp that's highlighted, which we declared over here. And dot layers, which means we are addressing the layers of the comp. Dot add null, which means to the layers of the comp we're adding a null object. Parameters are default, so we only need to do the two brackets or parentheses. And this controller null should have a name. Controller null dot name equals I guess a good name would be offset controller. And of course the name needs to be a string. So strings are always in quotation marks. Then also the controller null should have a slider control applied to it. Anyways, I'm using this method just wanting to let you know that there's others. I'll just call effects, which are all the effects applied to the controller null, and I'll add one, add property, and the property will be a slider control. And the slider control, and yeah, that's the important part. And if you're not sure how an effect is called, I mean, this is called slider control, you can create a new comp and add a new null object and a new solid. And let's say you want the curves effect on this. Then, or the curves is actually a bad example. Let's like the good old right line or right on effect. And you want to know how a property of the right effect is called, for example, the brush size. What you can do is full screen this, tilde key. You can say, just choose anything and press alt-click on the stopwatch and drag it over to the effect that you're trying to address. And over here you can say this comp is of course this comp. It does not work in script because of course this comp in expressions is always the comp you're in, but with the script you don't know which comp you're in while running the script beforehand. So as far as I know, this variable, this expression doesn't exist in the After Effects scripting. Then you can see the layer that it's referring to, and you can see effect right on brush size. So if you want to apply a write-on effect to a layer that you have in your comp and you don't know how it's called or how it's spelled, just drop the layer onto another object like a dummy and pick whip the effect. So now we know the write-on effect is write minus on. Just in case you're ever uncertain how your effect is called. And this controller null is now prepared. And also I want to add, and actually we can indent those because they belong to the controller null. So I'll create a new camera, call that cam, active comp dot layers dot add camera. And the camera needs two arguments. One is the name, I'll just call it camera, and the second one is the center point. I'm not sure why the center point needs to be a two-dimensional array, but it does. So if you want to change the camera points of view or position or whatever afterwards, I recommend you to use the cam.property position that we'll use later on for the pictures, and that you could also see in the last tutorial about the cube. That concludes the first part of the final scripting tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I also hope you'll join me in the next part when we finish the script and go ahead and debug it so we can enjoy our dispersed photos and offsetable photo wall. Until then, bye-bye.